I would pump and you would bottle feed. And when she was really, really little, we were syringe feeding her, which was like, that required 2 people.
Yep. It was rocket science. Being
literally.
First time parents. Hello, I'm Tijani Musa.
And I'm Yasmin Musa. And this is how we're doing it.
Welcome to How We're Doing It. Here we'll share stories about our journey and experiences of being first-generation college graduates, our family, buying our first home, moving across the country, and living a debt-free lifestyle. We do so in an authentic, fun, and educational way to help other first-generation immigrants with similar paths. So, Mrs. Yasmin, what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about what happens when you're the first one in your friend group to have a baby.
Wow. That is a fresh topic. I'm thinking about it like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
But now we have a 2-year-old?
Mm-hmm.
My goodness.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Time flies.
Wow.
But we were the trendsetters.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Loud and proud.
Trendsetters of the group.
Say it again one more time.
We knew like all along we were like first to get engaged, first to get married, and then first to have a baby. So we were just moving on up.
Yeah, I think it comes with some level of responsibility.
Absolutely.
Because now your friends think you're an expert.
Basically, yeah. Yeah.
And they rely on you. They have their questions.
Little do they know we're still trying to figure it out ourselves. No such thing.
That's right. We share resources as we go, but it's amazing where we've come from the journey that we've taken years ago. At this point, maybe over 3 years, because it takes preparation to actually be in the process of trying to bring a baby to this world. So it's a lot of preparation behind the scene. And it's exciting. I think I'm excited for this topic because I wanna talk to you about it, and let's get it started then. Let's go. Habla.
You got all this to say. You're like, let's get it started. Go ahead and start.
Oh, okay.
Dude, why are you looking at me?
We go off of each other. That's how we run it.
You like to rap.
Because I'm not a rapper.
So in preparing for this episode, I had to go back, right, to think about like what are some of the things that our friends did that helped us after having our baby, right?
Right.
So we're home with the baby. You know, obviously when you first have the baby, everyone's excited. They want to see pictures. You get all these congratulations messages, all the things. And then all of a sudden you just feel lonely because, I mean, for us, we were very strict with us not exposing our baby to anybody until she had her 3-month immunizations. And this is due to us having her in the middle of a pandemic, basically. Right. We were just being extra cautious. It was flu season, COVID season, all the things. And so we just felt more comfortable not exposing her. So we had a very strict visitor policy, basically. No visitors allowed. And obviously that kept them from seeing the baby.
Yeah.
So how are some other ways that they helped, even though they were not able to be physically there for us?
Yeah, it's definitely because, I mean, first of all, like when you're the first in your friends group to have a baby, right? You feel like all of your friends want to see the baby on day one. And so it was extremely difficult for us to have a strict policy a strict no visitation policy, and basically telling our friends, okay, the baby is not available to be visited at this point. And we want to protect the baby because at that age, the babies cannot even get any type of medication other than just time and monitoring. And so it hurt us to restrict visitation from our friends. And so, but we have a close group of friends that were extremely helpful during this time. And I remember one of our friends offering their support. And one of them was very kind to call us and text us and ask us, hey, what do you guys need? I can go to the grocery store and buy you stuff. And I remember talking to you about it. And I said, my friend is offering this. I'm actually going to test him and actually take him on this offer. And I told him, I said, he asked me, hey, do you need groceries? I'm at the store right now. I could buy you some groceries. And I said, yes. He actually brought those groceries.
Yeah.
He did that more than once.
Yeah. I remember there was a couple like Costco runs.
Yeah.
Because you have to think about it. Like our time was literally spent around this baby 24/7. We're sleep deprived. We're barely spending time with each other. Yet we're in the same household all day.
Right. We couldn't even eat dinner together.
No. So, and then like when we first, like that first month when we were feeding her,
right,
we were still trying to figure out the nursing / pumping situation. And so we would, it took two people.
Yeah,
like that's the
absolutely.
reality of it. It took two people because I would pump and you would bottle feed. And when she was really, really little, we were syringe feeding her, which was like, that required two people.
Yep. It was rocket science. Being first time parents.
We were trying to figure out breastfeeding at that point and the nursing part. And it just, I think once I made the decision, I'm just going to exclusively pump. That was the best thing for us. Because then you could help me just bottle feed her.
Yeah.
And we could be on our own schedules. And it wasn't that big of a deal anymore.
Do you think people that are trying to have babies, you think they understand what exclusively pumping means?
I think a lot of people do. But I can share that exclusively pumping means the baby is not latching to the breast to receive the breast milk. You're just pumping.
Right.
Which means you're putting a pump machine to your breast to extract the milk.
Yeah.
And then that milk is fed to the baby in a bottle.
Thank you. Because for me, like when we're in that journey, you were the one that was doing most of the research. And you share a lot of the information to me, and a lot of the terminologies were new to me. And so I want to make sure that a potential new dad, understands when we talk about exclusive pumping, what that means, and then also the support around it. The part where you just added, you extract the milk, and I was there to help feed the baby when you are doing what you needed to do. So
it was like
that's a teamwork
job. Yeah.
Yep, it's teamwork.
Which is why like sometimes just going to the grocery store, right? Like even though it's just like an hour, maybe an hour and a half tops trip, it seemed like something that we couldn't do.
Yeah.
Because one, we didn't want to go out with the baby.
Right.
And then not having you there meant I needed to do all of it, and it was very overwhelming. And so our friend offering to buy us groceries was the best.
It was a huge help.
Yeah, it was a huge help.
And so that's one thing you could do for your friends that are parents, that are new parents, offering them to buy groceries. You may think that's a small thing, but trust me, it's huge. And they will not forget it. I mean, given this episode, we're talking about it now because we really appreciated our friends that offered that help to us. And so if you know friends that are in the season of their life where they are new parents, that is one thing you could do to support them in their journey.
Yeah. Another big thing was we had a few friends who wanted to support, and they were like, okay, well, I'm going to send you food. And like, I remember one of the kids is coughing. We're dealing with a sick child. This is the reality.
Live.
Sick child.
When the child is sick, you just got to stop and listen.
I think he's good.
All right.
He has a cough. Okay. Anyways, so yes, our friends wanted to help, but I don't think they really knew how to help.
Right.
And so I remember they were like, oh, well, I'm going to send you food. Like we had one friend who sent us like pizza one night.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was another friend who was like, oh, like she asked me, like, where do you guys normally get your takeout from? Like, I'll order it for you.
Yeah.
And we had people send us money like on Venmo.
Yep.
Like your lunch is on us or whatever.
Yeah.
It was really helpful because it gave us the flexibility on some weeks, when we had a lot going on, or just some days where, you can't run to the grocery store and you don't have anything in the fridge or you just feel lazy.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's a second thing right there, right? Like it doesn't have to be like a huge amount of money, right? We have friends that were, they'd be like, okay, lunch is on us today or dinner is on us today. At the end of the day, you need to show your friends that you still care about them, and being there and being, it's providing that practical help for them, and then also that emotional support during those times, because having a baby could be overwhelming, and it's a lot, especially during those first couple of months or weeks. So sending that help, trust me, goes a long way.
We had a couple people offered to babysit too, which in her first 3 months, the only person we took up on that offer was my sister.
Yeah.
And my mom, basically, on very rare occasions.
Right.
It was maybe once or twice in those 3 months. But I remember for our anniversary, April, she must have been 6 months around then.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember Yessie came over and she watched her.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's huge. I remember that. And that's the part of, just because you're parents doesn't mean that you cannot find ways to still love on each other, right? And it was an anniversary and we wanted to do something special. And so we reached out to our friends. Sometimes don't be shy. You have to be able to reach out to your friends as well and asking them for support. And so our friend was able to come over and watch Jaslyn for us as we go out and spend a couple hours just by ourselves and having a good time after a long time.
Oh, another one that I remember, we didn't end up going through with it because I couldn't do it, but you remember for Valentine's Day, you had lined up a babysitter.
Yep.
You had everything ready, and then the day of, I was like, I don't want to leave her.
I remember that. I can't forget that because that was our first Valentine's after the baby was here. So, but I understood, it was about 2-3 months after the baby. So the baby was...
I had just gone back to work. So it was really hard for me to leave her after I had already been gone all day. Yeah,
it was a difficult time. And but what we ended up doing, and this is another tip just for the new parents, you have to be creative. When I realized that my wife did not want to leave the baby, Valentine's Day is something that's special because that's when I asked her out. And so we celebrate Valentine's Day. And so, but when I realized that she didn't want to leave the baby, what I did was I brought Valentine's Day to the house. And so we did the celebration at home rather than going out. We brought the celebrations at home, and it doesn't have to be a big thing, but you could be creative to make your loved one feel special. That's a tip to the new parents. You can still enjoy your love even when the baby is there. Even though you may not be able to eat together, one person would eat first and the other person watches the baby, but at least you're celebrating and enjoying time together with the baby. The baby's first Valentine's.
Yeah. I would say another thing that really helped is friends that would check in on me. Not check in on the baby, which I feel like we've touched on before, when you text that first time mom, you should know that the baby's taken care of. Mm-hmm. Trust me, mom, dad, anybody who's there to help, they are making sure that baby is well loved, well fed, all the things. You don't need to text and check or call to check in on the baby. You need to check in on mom and ask mom, how are you doing? What do you need? How can I help you? Sometimes moms just need somebody to listen. Sometimes, it helps when you talk to another mom, but that's not the case for everybody, right? Like in our case, we were in our specific friend group, we were the first ones. So these things weren't happening. And I don't blame our friends for not knowing.
Right.
Because I think unless you go through this, you don't know how to help that friend who just had a baby.
Right.
You learn all these things once you become a parent, and you're like, oh, this would have been really nice. Or, hey, someone did this for me. Let me pass it on to the next, person that I know that has a baby. And I don't blame our friends, for not knowing that at that time. I give them the grace, and I know that it's one thing that they'll learn as now we're watching them, go through the stages that we went through already. Like we had some friends that just had their baby. And, we make sure to share and pass on those things that were kind and that helped us. We make sure we pass those things on to them. And I don't blame them, at all for that. I 100% understand, because I know when I wasn't in the season of life, I also didn't know how to help anybody who had just had a baby.
Right.
So
this is why I like the podcast, because for me with this podcast, right, some of the stories that we share are stories that we tell in retrospect, right? When we were in this once upon a time, right? When we were new parents, what are some of the things that we wanted our friends to do for us? What are some of the help that we needed from our friends? And some of them we got it, and some we did not. And now we're coming back to this podcast and sharing our experiences, telling you that when your friends become parents, these are some of the common things that they may need from you. And so now we're looking back, helping you to be there for your own friends. This is why I love our podcast, and this is why I love the name. And what Yasmin was saying, I want to add a little bit to it, because we have a friend that just had a baby a week ago. But before that, we've been engaging with them throughout the journey, checking in on them, how they're doing. Yasmin talks to the wife more and share resources with the wife. I talk to the husband and talk to him and just try to keep him calm and share some of the things that I've learned so far, and some of the things that I learned when Yasmin was pregnant up until the delivery date. So I shared tips with him, but I was doing it in a way that I did not want to take away from his experience. Some of the stuff and questions that he asks me, I don't share those information, because I tell him some of those things are special when you experience them yourself. And so I know my limits of sharing information, but it's very, very important to what Yasmin is saying. And that's why I love our podcast. Looking back, what are some of those things that we're missing from our friends? And what are some of those things that we received from our friends that helped us throughout the journey? So that's amazing. That's a good point.
I will say also that being the first ones in the group, right? Like that meant that our current friends could not help us with some of the challenges and some of the things that we were facing. So we had to find basically new friends. New connections. You know, like I think we started reaching out to other people who had babies around the same time as us and building, stronger friendships with them. I also remember there's a friend that she was your close friend in college. You guys were really close.
Yep.
You guys years later still talk. And when she found out we were having a baby, she just texted me immediately.
She became your mentor.
And she became like everything that I needed. There was no question that I didn't feel comfortable asking her, or that I couldn't ask her. And even if she didn't know, she was honest with me and just very like raw and real. And I remember hearing, going back through the conversations, like I remember talking with her about how, grateful I was that, you know, hey, I'm so grateful, like I'm pregnant and I'm having this baby, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember her being raw with me, like, yeah, you know, it's great, you know, it can be challenging. And looking, you know, at the time, thinking about it, I was like, oh gosh, like, you know, I shouldn't be taking this for granted. Like, I shouldn't be complaining that I have, you know, swollen feet or stretch marks, because, oh gosh, like, I know so many women want to be in my shoes, you know?
Right.
And I just remember her being real raw with me and being like, it's okay to feel that way. Like, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't mean anything.
It's not taking away from anyone.
Exactly. Like, you're still allowed to feel this way, and it's really hard, and, you know, you'll see it. So I really appreciate her, because I felt like at that time I just needed someone who had been there recently, who done it. Not like my mom, right? Like, I love my mom. Right. She had 2 kids, you know, like, she could tell me all the things, but at the end of the day, that was 27, 28 years ago. At
that time, yeah.
At that time, like, it was, you know, such a long time ago. Things change. So I would say, you know, if you find anybody who had a baby around the same time as you, it's always good to have play dates. Which, can you tell me what play dates are? Because for some reason, in Texas, people don't know what a play date is.
Yeah, well, I guess I can tell you play date based on the definition in Virginia, right? So I guess a play date for parents is when you have a friend who has a child around the same age most of the time as your child, and you basically literally go out on a play date so the kids can interact and have fun. And so that's what play date is. You have a child who is around the same age as a friend who also has a child, and then you take them. It could be at the park, it could be at Chuck E. Cheese, it could be somewhere.
In your own home. You don't have to go out.
Yeah, you don't even have to go out. You can invite them in, or they invite you to their home, and the kids can socialize while you catch up with your friend.
And we had a lot of play dates with, like, babies that were born around the same time as Jasleen.
Yeah.
And that was so good for her socialization, because before that, she didn't really socialize with kids.
Right.
My mom was watching her, so it's not like she went to a daycare. But I've had a couple people be like, what is a play date? And I'm like, really? You don't know
play date.
The kids play. But thank you for explaining that to us.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I would say, you know, if you can even I remember Jasleen used to go to, like, swimming.
Oh yeah.
And at swimming, you know, there's kids that are her age, and that's where we met a couple who were first-time parents as well, around the same age as us, and, you know, we got to talking, and then, you know, tried to get the kids together. It didn't end up working out, but, you know, It's always good to build those connections, I feel like, and you have to expand out of your circle to help, you know, find people that are going through the same thing that you're going through in that moment.
And for context, my wife is an introvert. Okay? Introvert. Why do I say that? Because my wife just told you have to expose yourself and go outside of your comfort zone to make friends. And what I've noticed with my wife is, since she had the baby, she became a butterfly. My wife can make friendships for the sake of her daughter. My wife can connect with other parents at Jasleen swimming. My wife can connect with other parents at the grocery store for the sake of her child. So she at the park. So she became social. You can say that now she is between extrovert and introvert. So she is in the middle in that transitional phase. She's doing very well. And it's very, very important to explore opportunities where your child can engage with other kids. That's how they develop their social skills. And it's important for you to also have a support network and making new friends. And it's important because those are friends that are in a similar phase in their life where they have a baby. you have a baby and you could share resources with each other. You could share tips with each other. You could learn from them and they can learn from you as well. So those are very important things when you're becoming parents.
Absolutely. I think it's also another way you can help, which people always say, like, oh, offer to, like, you know, you just had a friend who had a baby, like, offer to come clean something for them,
Yeah.
or help them with any other task. So I wanted to make sure I pointed that out, you know.
Yeah, home chores.
If you're going to come over, don't expect to hold the baby.
Yeah.
Baby's fine with mom or dad. Don't expect. And don't kiss babies, okay? That's like the number one rule. You don't kiss other people's babies.
Or maybe you ask.
No, you don't, because
Okay.
RSV, bro. You should know this.
That's true. I mean,
Bro,
public health.
you're like walking CDC and you don't know that babies shouldn't be kissed.
Hey, I didn't say. Hey, I didn't say to do it. I said you should ask.
No, don't.
Okay.
Don't.
Okay.
Just don't.
Okay, don't do it. Don't do
kiss
it.
other people's babies.
Don't kiss other people's babies because my wife said so.
Yes, respect boundaries.
That's right. Respect boundaries.
I think, like, for us, like, it was, I feel like some people who may have come from, like, big families, right, who have,
right. Culturally too.
Right, like, they already have, like, lots of brothers and sisters, and those brothers and sisters have lots of babies already. Like, maybe they don't have to go through kind of what we went through, but for us, like,
the isolation, loneliness, yeah.
Like, well, for us, like, we only had Leo, and Leo's 3 years.
Yeah.
Like a 3-year
At that
difference
time, yeah.
between Jasleen and Leo. And so even if we wanted to get her together with other kids, it was really just Leo.
Yeah.
And the age gap at the time was so wide.
Right.
They couldn't interact a lot.
Yeah. So it's a case by case, definitely. If you have a big family where you have that support system, great. That's awesome. All we can tell you at that point is just capitalize on it and utilize that resource. If you don't have a big family and you don't have that support system, you need to do a little bit of extra effort and extra work to create that community for yourself. And it's very important. So it's both of those sides. We wish you have that family. We did not. And so that's why we're saying these things that we're saying now, because we've worked very hard to get the support system that we have right now by building new friendships, new relationships, and all that from different places, including the park, including at the grocery store, including at the hospital, the clinics, all those places. We find friendships for the sake of our child.
Absolutely. And I remember also, do you remember at Jasleen's first birthday party, we had this like whiteboard where we wrote down dates that we needed babysitters for?
Oh, yeah.
And then our friends signed up to babysit.
Yep. Don't be shy. Matter of fact, host a party. Tell your friends, hey, I have a party. It could be the first time you invite them to see the baby. But when they come to the party, before they leave, make sure that they sign up for babysitting duties. It's very, very important.
You select important dates ahead of time. You know, like ours they weren't important dates, but they were like dates that we knew we needed someone because we were trying to go.
What did we end up using those dates for?
Well, we went to like a high school football game. It wasn't anything fancy, but we wanted to go support your former student at one of these events.
So. It was many. How many games? Like every Friday, pretty much.
We were going like every Friday. Yeah. I think I remember it was like at least 2 back-to-back Friday games. Yeah. And then like maybe 1 Saturday or Sunday for something else.
Yeah, it's
but
crazy.
It was 3 different people. I remember what 3 people went to babysit.
But we needed that.
We did.
Because those are times that we were alone and we were talking about different things and maybe sharing popcorn here and there. But we needed those times to just stay away from the baby and not hearing the baby crying. And at that point, our baby was she was older. She was doing very well. She could sleep. What our friends were really doing is just to put her in bed and they just monitor her while she's sleeping.
Right. And we would leave her like already bathed.
Yep.
She was in pajamas already, you know. Yeah. It was just like give her a clean diaper, feed her, and she'll put herself to sleep because she was sleep trained by that point also.
Yep.
And she would just go to sleep on her own.
It helped a lot.
We have a great first baby, I just want to say.
Yeah.
Our Jasleen is perfection.
But that's
every single way.
That's what I hear, though. You get that great first baby so you can have more babies, but everyone that comes after that is a little bit different from the first. That's what I heard. No point of return at that point. But we're grateful. Jasleen has been absolute joy. She's wonderful. She's learning a lot. She's learning fast. She's growing.
Oh, this week she said her first full sentence.
What was it?
Oh my God. So you were coming back from dropping off Leo at school and she heard the garage door open and she touches her ear and goes, "What's that sound?"
Wow. That's amazing.
Well, and then she did it again. Okay, but not the same sentence. When we went over to my parents' house and Grandpa was outside and she saw him and she walked up to him and asked, "Where's the grandma?"
She's so adorable.
It was so cute.
She's adorable.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, praise be to God. She's amazing. You have anything else about being the first in your family, being the first in your friends groups to have a baby? You have any other tips that we can impart to our friends that are about to embark on this journey?
If you're the first one that is the parent, I would say ask your friends how to help you because they don't know, okay?
Right.
And then if they don't, give them that grace. They are not parents yet, so they don't know. They will learn later on when it's their turn and you're already an expert.
Right.
And then if you're the friend and the who knows someone who just had a baby and you don't know how to support them, like we said, offered to buy groceries, offered to buy them food or send money for them to buy something. You can also offer to come help clean, whatever the case. I think the biggest thing is just asking how you can help. And they might not be open to accepting the help, because everyone's different. But at least you can say that you tried.
Yeah.
And check in on mom. If you don't remember anything else from today, check in on mom.
I wanted to highlight that too.
Ask, "Mom, how are you doing?" Don't ask, "How's the baby?" No. Baby's fine. Trust me. Ask, "How is mom doing?"
Yeah, that's important. And I guess from the parents to the friends, I wanna say that you have to express gratitude to your friends for their willingness to wanting to help. Let them know how much their support means to you and your family because they are willingly, offering support and help. And so you, in turn, want to show appreciation and express how grateful you are, gratitude towards their help. That would maybe also help them help you more by showing that gratitude and appreciation. So that's one thing you should also be reminded of.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No. You summarized it well.
All right. Thank you for listening to another episode of How We're Doing It. We want to hear from you. Contact us at hwdipodcast@gmail.com or leave a comment. If you like the show, consider subscribing in order to get notified of new episodes. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you again on the next episode.
Mama. Bye-bye.